The year 2024 will be a year of historic natural disasters. Michael Snyder reports, we didn't even make it through the entire day in 2024 before our planet sent us some enormous reminders that it's becoming increasingly unstable. Unfortunately, the earthquakes that we just witnessed in California and Japan are just the beginning. 2024 will be a year of historic natural disasters, and in many cases there won't be any warning at all. In Japan, people were preparing for an ordinary New Year's Day when all of a sudden the shaking began, and the earthquakes are ongoing even today, tens of them, and they're pretty big. Now, Japan, people were prepared for ordinary New Year's Day, all of a sudden the shaking began. So far, Japan has been hit by more than 100 significant earthquakes, and that includes the one measuring magnitude 7.6 yesterday on the Richter scale. I hope this is just the final shock and not a foreshock of something bigger. Now, 4 people were victims to this. Japan's prime minister said rescue efforts have been extremely difficult due to damage to roads in the Ishikawa prefecture near the epicenter of the quake. The main highway through the district has been completely closed according to the reports, so you can imagine the damage. The magnitude 7.6 earthquake was felt as far away as Tokyo, and the U.S. Geological Survey is telling us that it's the largest earthquake to strike that particular region in more than 4 decades. Needless to say, all of this shaking created quite a bit of panic, and footage that is coming out of Japan looks like it's been pulled directly out of a Hollywood disaster movie. And from what I saw on USGS, they had a lot of subsidence of the earth, and liquefaction of the earth because it was on the coast. So Japanese media footage showed people running through the streets, red smoke spewing from a fire in a residential neighborhood. Photos showed a crowd of people, including a woman and a baby, running away, standing by huge cracks that had ripped through the pavement of the streets. For the first time since the Fukushima disaster in 2011, the Japan Meteorological Agency issued a special warning for the possibility of a tsunami, but fortunately the tsunami that hit the coast was not as large as originally anticipated. The Japan Meteorological Agency issued a special warning for a potential tsunami measuring 3 meters or higher, that's 9 feet, 10 feet or higher in Ishikawa's Neto Peninsula, and downgraded it hours later. The tsunami measured about 3.5 feet, reaching Wajima port in the prefecture, it said. It was the first time such a special warning had been issued since the 2011 magnitude 9 earthquake and tsunami that devastated the areas of northeastern Japan and triggered the Fukushima nuclear crisis. We haven't seen shaking of this nature in that part of the world for a long time, and as we get deeper into 2024, I will be watching Mount Fuji very carefully. Once a full-blown catastrophic eruption of that volcano happens, millions of Japanese could be victims to it. Meanwhile, the state of California is being shaken as well. Just hours after 2024 began, a magnitude 4.8 earthquake shook the city of Los Angeles. A 4.8 magnitude earthquake struck Los Angeles on New Year's Day. In a rude awakening for revelers nursing hangovers, the quake struck 12 miles off the coast from the city of Rancho Palos Verdes in Los Angeles County at 8:27 a.m. The quake was not large enough to cause significant damage, but that's not the real issue. The real issue is that Southern California has been shaking repeatedly by earthquakes over the last 10 days. In the last 10 days, there's been at least one earthquake of magnitude 3 or greater centered nearby. Scientists keep telling us that the West Coast is way overdue for the big one earthquake, and that day could arrive without any warning at all. When the big one finally strikes, large portions of Southern California could potentially drop several feet in a matter of moments, and that would allow water from the Pacific Ocean to come pouring in. This is something that I've talked about extensively in my books, and scientists have warned that someday it will happen, but most of those that live along the coast in Southern California are not interested in such warnings. Of course, it isn't just natural disasters that we need to be concerned about. Right now, war is waging all over the globe. Famine is spreading, economic problems have started to spiral out of control, and several major pestilences continue to spread. Most people in the general population don't seem too alarmed by any of this, but among many of the elites are feverishly prepared for what is ahead. For example, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg is spending a colossal amount of money to construct a gigantic survivalist compound in Hawaii. Zuckerberg has been building an underground bunker, and it's led to panic and wild conspiracies on social media. The Facebook's founder underground bunker, estimated to be worth about $270 million, is being built on the northeast side of Hawaii's Kauai Island. Will he actually need to use that compound soon? So much is going to happen this year. The most heated presidential election in U.S. history will take place in November. The border crisis has already reached a level that is beyond anything we have ever seen before. And on April 8th, the second great American eclipse will make headlines over the world. There's a reason why the path of this upcoming eclipse is featured in the cover of Chaos. I'm entirely convinced that this eclipse is very important, and it just happens to fall on the very first day of the biblical year that begins in the spring. Do you think this is just a coincidence? We have finally reached the year that so many of us have been pointing to for such a long time. As a society is greatly shaken by one crisis after another, the ground beneath our feet will continue to be greatly shaken. So brace yourselves for what's ahead, because things are about to get really crazy. This is by Michael Snyder. It says about the author, my name is Michael, and my brand new book entitled Chaos is now available in paperback and for Kindle on Amazon. In addition to my new book, I've written 7 other books available on Amazon, including 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters, Commissions Earned. When you purchase any of these books, you help to support the work that I'm doing, and one way that you can really help is by sending copies as gifts to family and friends. Time is short, and I need help getting these warnings into the hands of as many people as possible. I've also started a brand new Substack newsletter, and I encourage you to subscribe so you won't miss any of my articles. I've published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and the most important news, and the articles that I publish on those sites are republished on dozens of other prominent websites all over the globe. I always freely and happily allow others to republish my articles on their own websites, but I also ask that they include this about the author section with each article. The material contained in this article is for general information purposes only, and readers should consult licensed professionals before making any legal, business, financial, or health decisions. I encourage you to follow me on social media, Facebook and Twitter, and any way that you can share these articles with others is definitely a great help. These are such troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, I strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. This is by Michael Snyder on the Economic Collapse blog. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.